So the question today is, does the weather pattern that we're looking at mean we're going to see an early winter? Well, we're going to talk a little bit about that today, and I'm going to make the case as to why it might. All right, so take that with a grain of salt. Let me show you what's going on here in the upper levels. This is interesting. This is where we are now, and we're going to take you through the next several days into next week. We're going to look at North America first because you've got this giant ridge here, right? Kind of building across eastern Canada. That's sort of setting up a bit of a blocking pattern up here around the North Pole, and you're forcing air this way, right, down across Alaska. And any cold air that starts to form around the North Pole or anywhere over Siberia is going to want to have a tendency to drop here into Alaska. And I think that matters because cold air this time of year starts to develop across land. That's just the way it is. You don't get cold across the ocean. Even when there's ice across the North Pole, there's still some heat energy that gets released. It's just not nearly as cold as across land. So here into Alaska, into the Northwest Territories with this big blocking pattern, look how cold it is. At least the forecast is across Alaska. And that puts down snow for the next several weeks or so. I mean, we're starting to see those accumulations show up here on the model data. So cold enough for snow. And if it's cold enough for snow, you're going to get those longer nights. You're going to start to develop that cold pool of air. We're getting chillier here across North America, and that just sets the stage because you've got to have the cold air first before you can dump it down into the U.S. Are we starting to see signs of that maybe a little bit earlier than normal? I would say yes, because of just the weather pattern. Does it break off and move south? That's to be determined. So you've got to have the cold before you can move it south, and we're already starting to see those signs. Interesting to look at. If you like this kind of content, I hope you'll come back and subscribe. If it's your first time, thanks for coming by. We're going to talk a little bit about what's going on over the next several days. First, if you want to help the channel out, hit subscribe. It absolutely helps a lot. And if you're going, who are you? Well, my name is Travis Roberts. Thanks again for stopping by. I am a former TV chief meteorologist. I'm not in the business anymore. I've been out for over 5 years, but I do love winter forecasting, especially when we look at these longer range outlooks. So if you like that stuff, come back and I'll try to keep these videos updated when time allows. So we've got this storm here. I just erased it. This is what's going to be our severe weather maker on Thursday. Maybe some tornadoes across parts of Minnesota, down to Iowa, and maybe even further east too into Wisconsin and possibly Illinois. So let's time some of this out now. Pretty potent storm here and a lot of wind shear associated with this as we head into Thursday afternoon and Thursday evening. Storm Prediction Center highlighting this area all the way down again into Missouri, maybe even as far south as Oklahoma. The potential for tornadoes greatest, though, right here across parts of Minnesota, over into Wisconsin, down into Iowa, too, as we get these storms firing up. We'll take a quick look at the future radar on those. You can see by really the afternoon and evening hours. This is more driven by the afternoon heating and also that wind shear and those that colder air aloft starts to move across. So sometime in the late afternoon to early evening, and some of these could persist into the late evening hours. So we're talking about 9, 10, 11 o'clock. And this time, by the way, is Eastern, so take off an hour for Central Time. And then that pushes off to the east, and it does weaken some. Let's keep this going because we do have a very active weather pattern that's really setting up. Some rain showers here across the Northeast kind of spinning back like this, so cool, maybe a little damp here too. And we've even got a few showers trying to hold on here across parts of the Southeast. Now, that system moves away, and then we're looking at another system that will drop into the west. As far as rain goes across the west, I do want to back this up. Look at this, some snow and rain possible Thursday into Friday into the Sierra. You know, if you look into the desert Southwest, someone asked me yesterday, what about Phoenix? Why is there no rain in Phoenix? Well, it's the desert, but there might be maybe a shower or two by Saturday and Sunday. It doesn't look likely as this trough swings through, and that's going to probably bring some snow into the Colorado Rockies. We might visit some snow again into the Wasatch. It looks like it's going to be a little bit to your east, though. And now a bit of an easterly component here as our low goes by to the east. And then this starts to develop a little bit as we head into Sunday and Monday, bringing quite a bit of rain here, I think. And then look, there's your trough pattern here developing. So out ahead of this, quite a bit of rain shower activity. And there's your surface low developing, moving northeast. So it's that time of year we're seeing these mid-latitude cyclones wind up again. It's been a while since we've been seeing these types of storms with this trough pattern. And then there's your low. And yeah, I could geek out over this stuff for quite some time. Your low gets occluded here. There's your front draping south, maybe some much needed rain for parts of the Midwest and into the mid-Atlantic and the mid-South. Maybe. So this looks like it's going to try to stall out. We're looking at a week away now, so who knows. And the GFS is notorious also. You're probably looking here in the Gulf. It's been trying to do this for the last couple of runs, trying to develop something tropical in nature. We're still so far out on this, I wouldn't believe the GFS, but it's there. And now we're kind of just looking at the long-term pattern now. So does this happen? I don't know. The GFS starts to go into weird feedback modes and does weird things. And check this out, even trying to do this weird trough here in the east. Now we're in a dream world now. But wouldn't that be something if you had a tropical system just off the coast that gets sucked up into this trough? Yeah, I don't see this happening, but yeah, it is what it is. That's the models. Once they get so far out, they miss the mark by a lot. And yeah, are we looking at snow on October 1st around the Great Lakes into parts of the Appalachians? I don't think so, but we could be in for a colder pattern. So something to keep an eye on.